Good morning, and thank you for tuning into the Andrew Tate Show, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We've got a great show
Ooh,
for you guys today.
this show.
We'll be covering changes made in the NFL, the NFC East team interested in J.J. McCarthy, and shocking draft decisions for the Cardinals. We'll also be talking about insight into Nick Saban's retirement, and as always, make sure that you guys stick around for later in the show when we'll be diving into the oddities of the day. Before we start, I just wanted to ask that you guys like and follow the show. Also, we get a number of questions from viewers that comment during the show, so to ensure that your question gets read on the air, I ask that you use the tips and donation link with your question. The tips and donation link is gsmcpodcast.net. This puts your question at the top of the list so that I can see it, and it just also really helps the show. Hello, Tate. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm tired.
Good morning.
As
Yeah.
I told you. You want to share with people why I'm tired today? It sounds funny.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I ended up sleeping till like 7 o'clock, which is so weird for me.
It's
I wake up at
very
1,
odd.
2, 3 in the morning, and I start my day.
Yeah.
The sleep in the 7, I'm tired. I've had a
Mhm.
full night's rest, and that makes me tired.
Yeah, which is crazy to me, but
Go off 2 hours, I'm ready to go all day.
yeah, he told me that, and I was like, wow, you got over 8 hours. I'm impressed. You never sleep that long.
I don't get 8 hours in a week.
Yeah, which I don't know how you do it, but props to you, man.
Yes. I'm like, people have asked this question, but like, how long has this been going on? I've even had doctors, and I'm like, since I was 8.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. You've been doing this since you were a kid? That's
Oh,
crazy.
since I was a kid. Yeah. My whole life, I've only gone off a few hours of sleep a day.
Mm-mm-mm.
Everybody, you know what it's like to be a kid and everybody is asleep and you're just in a dark house that's sitting there like, wow.
Yeah.
For hours.
Hours, yeah.
You kind of get that one, right?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah, because during the summer I would stay up and everybody else would be asleep, but, you know.
Little kids, their minds start playing trick. They start seeing little things in the corners and things. You're like,
Yeah, but,
oh
I guess
God.
I guess back then you couldn't really like watch TV because that was during the time when like the programming stopped at midnight, right?
A lot of times, yeah, a lot of them
Yeah.
did, yes.
So what did you do?
But when I was a kid, there was only 3 channels.
Yeah.
3 channels. Can you imagine, Faith? And these suckers, not only was it 3 channels, but then they had the nerve to turn off at midnight. So
Yeah.
you couldn't even get up and watch it. I'm like, oh hell no. I can't wait. I can't wait to the future. Yeah, you got no smartphone or tablet to
Mm-hmm.
play with.
Yeah.
You're playing with an Etch-a-Sketch. Like, oh, man, this sucks.
I just sketch.
A little
Oh,
viewfinder.
jeez.
We only got like two slides over
I
here.
know what you're
All
doing.
right.
Yeah.
That took 15 minutes. Let's roll. I can only
Oh
watch
gosh.
Goofy and Mickey that so many times.
Oh
All
gosh,
right,
that's
let's
funny.
dive into the show here.
Alrighty, so the NFL has been making a lot of changes lately. So first we'll discuss the NFL has officially approved a change to the trade deadline. The NFL teams will have a bit of extra time to make trades during the 2024 regular season. The league announced several rule changes on Tuesday morning. That includes a passed vote to move the trade deadline back 1 week. Teams will now have until Tuesday after Week 9 games to complete deals. It previously fell on Tuesday following Week 8. The NFL trade deadline hasn't always fostered as much activity as the other major U.S. sports. However, teams have gotten more proactive in recent years. Some major blockbusters occurred 2 years ago, headlined by San Francisco 49ers acquiring Christian McCaffrey. The Minnesota Vikings landed TJ Hawkinson from the Detroit Lions, and Miami Dolphins made a deal for Bradley Chubb. While the trades before last year's October 31st deadline weren't as symmetric. Some notable players swapped places. The Washington Commanders moved defensive linemen Chase Young and Montez Sweat to the San Francisco 49ers and Chicago Bears, respectively. Leonard Williams went to Seattle Seahawks, and Joshua Dobbs provided the Vikings with a short-lived spark in place of the injured Kirk Cousins. Delaying the deadline by 1 week could bolster activity in future seasons. An extra week could give teams more to determine if they should buy or sell.
Okay. When I first heard this, I'm like, who cares? It's a week. It's like
what can happen in a week?
Right. That's what I'm getting at. And I'm like, a week, who cares?
Yeah.
But then I started thinking about it because the NFL, this isn't the NBA or Major League Baseball, where Major League Baseball is 9 billion games. The NFL season is so short, and having one more week where you're trying to make a decision on someone. And you can kind of see an extra week is the player that we're hoping to come back, is he progressing? Right. Is he going to be back? You get more guarantee. One more game is determined of, okay, we're on a 4-game losing streak. Do we blow this up or do we keep contending? Well, you wait one more week and it's like, okay, we're on a 5-game losing streak and we're out of this. It will definitely make a determination on where teams, it'll make a very clear definition on where teams are at. I think an extra week will be a big deal. Also, an extra week can help with, okay, I've made it this far. It's now, trade down is what, week 9 now?
Yes, week 9.
Okay. So week 9, you're looking at things and you get that extra week for a player to be like, man, things aren't going to change here. Maybe you're going to see more players maybe asking to be traded to a contender, things of that nature. I think that could be a good thing. So I'm very curious to see how things progress. Also, the last couple of years, the NFL trade deadline has traditionally been absolutely non-eventful. It's like eating oatmeal. You gotta deal with it, but you're not excited about it. Now it's 1 week later. There's been a lot more action going on. I think this could be another catalyst where you can kind of determine that one extra week can determine, hey, we still contending, or we're done and let's make some moves. So that's kind of where I say it at.
Yeah.
The NFL's been making changes, haven't they?
Yeah, they are. Yeah. Along with the trade deadline being moved, NFL owners also voted to outlaw the hip toss tackle and implement a new kickoff aimed at
hip drop.
Okay, well, from the article one of the articles said hip toss and then the other one said hip drop. So
hip toss would be like a wrestling move.
Okay.
That would be something to see.
Well, apologies then, because that's a judo move. Well, the first article I read said hip toss and then the other one said hip drop, and the headline on the screen says hip toss. So hip drop, I apologize for that error. Sorry.
I see. I mean, I'm an old judo guy. So you grab the gi, you pivot your hips, and step in front. Use your hip to throw the person over you.
Well,
and so that's
whoever wrote the first article did not do enough research. Okay, so NFL owners also voted to outlaw the hip drop tackle and implement a new kickoff aimed at creating more returns. So along with the NFL banning the hip drop tackle, the kickoff has been modified on a 1-year trial, and then we also NFL makes it easier to earn a third challenge, a double foul with possession change, and a replay review when the game clock expires before the snap.
Is there any more details on the kickoff or anything with this article?
Kickoff. I just kickoff.
While you're looking at it, give me a sec. I'm gonna comment on the hip drop tackle, and you can look that up.
Okay.
I as a person who's played football for a long time, watched a lot of football, I don't know how they're gonna do this. This is a very hard thing to take away. This isn't some new technique like when the horse collar, Roy Williams came in and he had this whole concept of running behind somebody and grabbing them by their shoulder pads and yanking them down. No one had ever done that before. But the hip drop tackle, if you're a smaller guy and you hit a bigger guy, you grab them, you drop, and use all your weight to bring them down, to take them off balance, to bring them down. I don't know. You're taught that at a young age. You know, you do tackles like that when you're in pee-wee football. You do it in high school, middle school, college, pros. It's something that's just been part of your life, your whole life. If someone is bigger than you and you're trying to bring them down and you got them around the shoulders or something like that, dropping your whole body will force them, if they're moving forward, to fall down. That's the natural thing to do when someone has momentum and strength. Even guy, girl, it doesn't matter. That's a natural movement that you tend to do out of instinct. I don't know anyone who I've ever seen that practiced the hip drop tackle. You know, that's not something that you practice. It's just something that you do. No one, you just do it, pee-wee, all the way through. How do you say, okay, I have to teach myself to not, if they're moving forward, to fall down on the ground and use your weight to make them fall down? I don't know how you can enforce this. There's going to be, if they truly enforce this, the NFL games will become unwatchable because
they're gonna be so
a football game is always 3.5 hours. You just go ahead and make them a 6-hour day. Because it's gonna be like cricket out there. It's gonna you're gonna be like, man, there's another penalty. Let me go get a snack. There's another penalty. Go to the bathroom.
Yeah,
let's play some tiddlywinks.
The penalty for a hit drop tackle is a loss of 15 yards and then an automatic first down.
Oh my God, are you serious?
Yeah.
Whoa.
15 yards and an automatic first down.
Whoa, how the heck are you gonna do that?
Yeah,
I'm going to watch the NFL season. I always watch the NFL season, but I'm going to watch the first game or preseason. I want to see how they're going to enforce this.
I'm willing to bet that they're going to try to enforce it, and then they're going to see how long it's going to take for a game to be completed, and then I think they're just going to do away with it. Oh, we got a comment from Anton. They said hi. Hello. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Anton. Nice to have you join the show. Okay, what is this?
What's this? The show.
And that's it?
Yeah, they just said hi.
Oh, what's up, Anton? I thought you were coming here talking about some hip drop tackles. You just over here just saying hello.
Just saying hello.
I did that. Yeah, I don't know how I don't know how they're gonna enforce that.
It's gonna be a mess.
Well, I think there's good intentions with this. What they're trying to do is make sure that people are safe.
Right.
And the difference is like with the Tom Brady rule when you can't hit a quarterback below the ankles and all that. I mean below the knees and all that. That's something that you have to consciously dive. You got to dive for them and you know what you're doing. You're shooting low. The hip drop tackle, that's just like breathing for a football player.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's one I am against. I'm very curious about it, but I am definitely against. Give me the answer on the kickoff.
So kickoff returns are some of the most exciting plays in football. Devin Hester was so good at it that he's being inducted into the Hall of Fame. That age of kickoff returns has vanished, however, as kickers either boot the ball so far or players often play it safe. Two teams running full speed at each other at least 20 yards apart is dangerous. It's not an active element of the game in any other capacity. And the 2024 season will feature a new kickoff layout on a one-year trial. The kicker will still kick off from the 35-yard line, but the kicking team will line up on the receiving team's 40-yard line. The kicking team's player cannot move until the ball hits the ground, end zone, or receiving player. For the receiving team, at least 9 players must line up between the 35 and the 30-yard line, and there can be up to 2 returners in the landing zone. The changes will keep the sides from bashing into each other unnecessarily while promoting the usage of kickoff returns.
See, you know what? At first, I was kind of like, I don't get it. But now listening to you, that could be exciting because of the fact that that does promote running, catching the ball and running it back. So many times the kickoff seems so worthless.
Yeah.
And nothing even happens. It's like, oh, touchdown. I know they got the extra point and then they got the kickoff. I'm going to go flip the burgers and turn the brats. I'll be back. And you know that's going to go down because you know nothing. It's like now they've made it so the 2-point conversion is a little more exciting. So that's something. But you know that kickoff, unless it's at the very end of the game, nothing really happens. With the new kickoff rule, I like that. You could easily get a lot more kickoffs. It would make the kick returner a lot more valuable. I'm intrigued on that one. That one, I guess it's a give and take. You got the hip drop tackle, but you're gonna have a number of kick returns. There's nothing in football more exciting than a kick return. I mean, talk about turning the momentum of a game.
Yeah.
A kick return or a punt return just like blows the roof off of the building. And so I can totally see that. Any other ones? What's coming out? Name a couple other ones.
Let's see. The NFL makes it easier to earn a third challenge.
What's that? What's that one?
So, let's see. Coaches had to play their cards perfectly to earn a third challenge previously, not just one, but both of their challenges had to be successful if they wanted another opportunity to send the referees to review again. Not anymore. Coaches just need to have one successful challenge to earn their third. There's no fourth challenge available. The Detroit Lions proposed this change, one of 4 ideas submitted by a team. The other 6 proposals were initiated by the committee. Replay review for roughing the passer and intentional grounding. The committee approved reviews triggered by the replay assistant, not a coach's challenge, for roughing the passer and intentional grounding penalties. The competition committee has long opposed challenges to penalty calls because it essentially substitutes one person's judgment for another. NFL Network's Tom Pelissero said on Twitter, "This is much more narrow, but another step towards empowering the replay assistant to fix clear and obvious mistakes. The rule change opens the possibility for more penalties to be challenged in the upcoming season."
I think I'm still amazed about this whole challenge thing. College had it right a few years ago. Some of the conferences, I don't know if they changed it or not. So this is a little while ago. But there were some conferences, because of technology, there's cameras all over the place.
Yeah.
You have the officiating crew up in the booth with a camera with all the different angles. So every play is reviewed. And if they got it wrong, you just hit a button, notify them, they stop the game, and make things right. But make everything reviewable. We have the technology to do it.
Yeah.
You could even mix in a little artificial intelligence in there as well to check all the things. And then it notifies you. The technology is there to check every play to make sure that the referees have gotten it right.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I say that is you don't want to feel like, hey, the refs, they blew that call, so it cost my team a game.
Mm-hmm.
And so you don't make the playoffs because you missed the game because a referee screwed up.
Mm-hmm.
You want to if you lose a game, you want to lose it because the team beat you.
Right.
And using technology and being able to review everything other than holding, you cannot review holding.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the reason why you can't review holding. Every single play on every game, there's holding.
Yeah.
It's just degrees of holding.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So holding's the one thing you can't review. But everything else, all the major plays, I think should be reviewed. It doesn't, because I've seen this. If everything is reviewed, they do it in the flow of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're not slowing the game down. By the time the ball is caught, the guy goes down, the penalty happens, or the play happens, the booth is automatically going up there. They're pulling up the film, they're looking at the play, 3 or 4 people, different angles to make sure it works, and just keeps on rolling the game. Mm-hmm. I would like to see that. Mm-hmm. But they are moving in a good direction. I think I've liked all the new rule changes except for the hip drop tackle.
Yeah.
I just don't know how. I'm incredibly curious on how that's going to work.
Yeah, I don't really know how they're going to do that either. But I guess we'll see if they are going to try to maintain it, or if it's going to change again. I don't really see how they could maintain this rule, but what do I know?
Very, very, very curious on that one. Mm-hmm. All right.
Alrighty. Well,
I know we went a little long today.
That's okay. Alrighty, guys. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about an NFC East team that is highly interested in Michigan's J.J. McCarthy, and we're also going to talk about former NFL executive predicts a shocking draft decision for the Cardinals. So, guys, make sure you stick around, and we'll be back in a minute.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits, some losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip, you choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
Alrighty, guys, welcome back. Earlier, we were discussing the changes that have been made in the NFL, and now we're going to be talking about the NFC East team interested in J.J. McCarthy and shocking draft decisions from the Cardinals. But before we do that, I just want to remind you guys to like and follow the show. We get a number of questions from viewers that come in during the show, so to ensure that your question gets read on the air, I ask that you use the tips and donation link with your question. That link is gsmcpodcast.net. This puts your question at the top of the list so that I can see it, and it also just really helps the show. So,
nicely done. Okay, can you tell I'm coming to the office a little later? Normally during the break, I'm always sending little silly messages to face and all this stuff. I'm like today, because normally I've had like a full day's work done. Mm-hmm. I'm like, we're on break. I'm going right. I'm doing work on the break, so I didn't even look at face. I'm like, inside. I pulled up the screen. I'm doing all this stuff over here.
Yeah, I honestly was
So
shocked I didn't get a little silly message.
no, I'm working on things that I should have done like 5 hours ago.
I see.
Because I can't. This whole mere mortal's normal day for me is weird.
Yeah.
I feel so behind.
Welcome to the real world.
When you start your day so early and you're so used to this, and then you come to the office at a normal time, it's like, man, there's not enough time.
I definitely feel that on Sundays. Sundays are my day off. I don't work or anything like that, and so I'll sleep in. So I can only sleep in till probably 10 a.m. now because I get up at 5 o'clock every morning. But I'll sleep in and then I'll be like, gosh, it's already 11 o'clock. My day is almost over, basically. Where'd all the time go?
Yeah, see, mine is my life is so different than I feel like my life is so different than everyone else. It's not like I'm special, just meaning, when you wake up at 3 and then or you wake up at 1 or 2 and you're just like, okay. And so when it's 3, I've already put in 12 hours.
Yeah.
And when, and it's just like, I get so much more done in life. It's just, it feels weird to be so behind.
I'm sure you won't sleep as long tonight, so I think you'll be okay tomorrow.
Yes. And I'm tired. It's weird that I got sleep and I'm tired. Yeah. So anyway, fire away.
Alrighty. So, an insider indicates an NFC East team is highly interested in Michigan's J.J. McCarthy. Michigan's quarterback J.J. McCarthy's stock is soaring ahead of the first round of the NFL's draft on April 25th, but will he be a top 3 pick? Per NFL's media team Tom Pelissero, many in league circles believe Washington Commanders general manager Adam Peters is leaning towards taking McCarthy, 21, with the 2nd overall pick in the draft. Pelissero said, "It'll be really interesting because everybody's always trying to figure out, especially at the top of the draft, what the other teams are doing." The insiders, on the insiders, when I've had conversations with executives from other teams who know Adam Peters well, who know the situation well, the most popular answer for what they do at number 2 is J.J. McCarthy. So a lot of drama is still to come. Washington's interest in McCarthy is a bit of a surprise. ESPN draft expert Mel Kiper Jr. rated him as a 4th best quarterback in the draft class behind Drake Mave from North Carolina, Jaden Daniels, LSU, and presumptive number 1 pick Caleb Williams from USC. Washington recently dealt quarterback Sam Howell to the Seattle Seahawks, but signed former first round pick Marcus Mariota to a 1-year, $6 million deal. This means McCarthy wouldn't have to play immediately. Still, selecting McCarthy a national champion might be a reach for the Commanders. While scouts like his potential, he never threw more than 3,000 yards or 25 touchdowns in 3 seasons with the Wolverines. So,
okay. I have watched every single game that J.J. McCarthy has played in. And I think, pound for pound, he could be. I right now have him ranked number 2, but I have him close as far as Caleb Williams 1, J.J. McCarthy 2, Drake Daniels 3. Most people, it's surprising. I've been saying this for the last year that he's maybe the best quarterback in NFL. It's weird to me to see people that's like, watch this process go, where people are like, no, he's not good. He's not even going to get drafted, to he's a 3rd round quarterback at best. Even at the end of this season, some people had him at 3rd round. There are people that's like, I wouldn't even draft him. I wouldn't draft him at all. And now, as everyone's starting to meet with him, and understand, hey, this was Harbaugh's system. Harbaugh's system was run the ball, make smart decisions at quarterback, and rely on your defense. And so there was they didn't want hero ball in Michigan. And so they made sure to make incredibly smart decisions. Harbaugh coaches a very smart team, and that's been incredibly successful for him. But that system did not give them the chance to really a quarterback a chance to really showcase their skills. And so people are really surprised. Most people, if you're a top quarterback, you've made at least 1,000 throws, and he's not there. I think he's 7 something, and it's really crazy because when people start actually turning on the tape and watching him and paying attention. I went back through and watched a lot of his games just recently, just trying to see. I still think he's maybe the best quarterback in this draft. So they start going through, they meet with him, they watch the pro day, and then they're like, whoa, this guy, he has the size. He tests well. He can make every throw. And they're starting to realize, like, he has all the good and none of the bad. And he's going up the draft when people are like, nope, not even on my list. Now they got some people even have him number 1 on their list. Guys that didn't even rank him are having him number 1. Number 2. I would still put him at the number 2 slot, even though I think his upside is so amazing. Caleb has all the skills. To me, it's between him and Caleb. Caleb has all the skills, but the reason why I look at Caleb and I say, does he really want to be in Chicago? That's the question. When you're drafting a quarterback, you're like, one, does this guy want to be here? Are we going to be able to convince him to be here? Is he going to be all in? Is his family going to be all in? Because there's been a lot of things talked about him not really wanting to be there. But JJ McCarthy would want to be there.
Yeah.
Not to mention the whole thing about warm weather quarterback going to a cold weather climate. Chicago is cold as HE hockey sticks, everything else in the middle.
Yeah.
It's a cold. Well, he's been playing in Ann Arbor and doing well. He's used to the cold. He fits well. I think he's a better fit at 1, and Caleb is a better fit at 2. That's not going to happen. I think Caleb's going to go to the Bears, and I would love to see him go number 2 or number 3. Hint, hint. Our next story. See how that transition.
Yeah.
I got a nice little crossover. Now I gave you the fadeaway.
Yep. Alrighty. So moving on to our next story for this segment. Former NFL executive predicts shocking draft decisions for the Cardinals. Former NFL executive and current ESPN personality Mike Tannenbaum isn't convinced that Arizona Cardinals are as all in on the starting quarterback Kyler Murray as they've suggested. For a mock draft updated on Tuesday, Tannenbaum predicted that Arizona will spend the 4th pick to grab Michigan Wolverines quarterback J.J. McCarthy. Tannenbaum said, I really like McCarthy's long-term upside. The 21-year-old averaged 9 yards per attempt and completed 72.3% of his throws last season, and he bulked up to 219 pounds at the combine. In short, I think he's better, younger, and more durable quarterback than Murray right now, and I'm not passing up this chance. The alleged rise of McCarthy's draft stock from the following months through his recent pro days workout has become a fascinating NFL story. It was previously thought the Washington Commanders were essentially a lock to either take LSU Tigers quarterback Jaden Daniels or North Carolina's Tar Heels starter Drake May via number 2 pick. Yada yada. We already said that.
Yada yada.
Yada yada. For what it's worth, Cardinals head coach Jonathan Gannon and others within the organization routinely backed Murray while the 26-year-old recovered from a serious knee injury, and after the signal caller went 3-5 across 8 starts this postseason. Murray signed a 5-year contract extension in the summer of 2022 worth $230.5 million with a $160 million guarantee, but Tannenbaum noted that deal may not prevent Arizona from adding McCarthy to the roster. So.
All right. Now, with this one, I understand why they're doing this. First off, Kyler Murray missed most of the season last year, or pretty much missed the season last year. And so he's a small quarterback, durability issues, and they've also questioned his work ethic, where they have gone through and even on his contract, when they gave him the renewal on the contract, they had to put a clause in that he has to do so much film study and that he had to do film study at home and things like that. Putting in clauses.
He's got homework.
Yes. Well, you'd be surprised. NFL players do a lot of homework.
Yeah, but the fact that they had to put that clause into his contract is a little...
Yes. And so questioning his work ethic, putting a clause like, yeah, we'll pay you this $100 and something million, but this is what we have to have in order for us to sign you. It hasn't worked out well. The Cardinals need a reset. And they're setting pretty where they could pick a quarterback of the future. And it's a perfect time to do it. What a surprise it would be if they took J.J. McCarthy with that number 3 pick. Let's say he slid to the Commanders, don't take him. He dropped to the number 3 pick. They take him in the draft and they trade away Kyler Murray. There will be people wanting Kyler Murray. He's a very talented quarterback. He's small, but he's talented. I think it's an ingenious move. I think that's a move that could set the Cardinals need a reset. And the status quo, they're not close to making the playoffs right now. They're the 4th best team in their division. They're not going to dethrone the 49ers anytime soon. So if you're looking at that, do you really want an expensive quarterback, or you could get rid of this guy that hasn't been playing? You take money off your salary cap, you restart the whole process where you have a young quarterback and a very team-friendly deal. I think is absolutely perfect. So that's kind of where we're at. So that concludes this. I got to wrap this one up. I'm going to share with the audience as well. My buddy from Germany just walked in the door.
Oh, okay.
So I'm gonna
while y'all
when you go on break, I'm gonna go say hello and then dive back in here.
All right.
So,
all right, guys. Well, with that, we're gonna take a short break, and when we come back, we're gonna talk about how former Alabama coach Nick Saban is settling into retirement. So make sure you guys stick around, and we'll be back in a minute.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
Alrighty, guys, welcome back. Earlier, we were talking about insider indicate NFC East team is highly interested in Michigan's J.J. McCarthy, and then we also talked about how the Cardinals are also interested in J.J. McCarthy. And Tate is still on his little break right now, so I'm going to go ahead and dive into our third segment. This is a really cute story. So if you guys want to read the full story, definitely go on ESPN and read this full story because it's such a heartwarming, cute little story about Nick Saban's retirement. But Tate's back, so.
Okay. I can't even. Faith is holding things down over
Holding
here.
the fort down, baby.
That's my girl right there. This is why Faith is here in break in case of emergency.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I just heard heartwarming story.
Yes, I was
Fill me in.
telling the viewers, before I dive into the story, if you guys want to read the full story about Nick Saban settling into retirement, it's a really cute story on ESPN, so I definitely recommend going to ESPN and reading the full story because it is so cute. It's a cute little story.
Now, this is a girl who goes to the University of Georgia.
Yeah.
Her biggest rivalry.
I don't hate Nick Saban. And
I think this article kind of melted that ice on your heart there a little bit.
Well, Nick Saban doesn't coach Alabama anymore, so I got no hate to have for him, you know?
Wow.
Oh, right.
So, all right. So fill me in on this article because I did not read it. I always depend on Miss Faith on that one.
Well, it's a very, very long article, so I don't think we can cover everything that was in the article. But to start off, the stress level of former Alabama football coach Nick Saban is down exponentially these days, though there are some harrowing moments, like when his 3-year-old grandson James joins him on the golf course. There's a cute little picture of him on the golf course with the grandson.
Wow.
So cute.
Okay.
Saban commented on that and said, "The challenge is keeping him out of the sand traps. He likes to play in the sand. That's the most stress I've had." The legendary coach, meticulous attention to detail and unmatched work ethic during his 17 seasons in Tuscaloosa produced 6 national championships, 123 NFL draft picks, including 44 first-rounders in a new standard in college football. But it left little time for anything else. Remember, Saban once reportedly complained about the national title game costing him a week of recruiting time. So how has Saban adapted to his new life? It's something his closest confidants, family members, and Saban himself are still coming to grips with. When you're in a rat race like he's been, you never really step away and appreciate what you've accomplished, said Alabama's head athletic trainer Jeff Allen, the only football staff member Saban brought to the Tide, who was there for his entire tenure. You just could never, because in the business, as soon as you take a breath, you're getting beat, and he wasn't going to take a breath. Not only is Saban now taking a breath, he's seeing the world outside of football. He's experiencing things he's never had in life, for in the past, he's actually relaxing, a word that previously wasn't really part of his vocabulary. The biggest change for me as a person is that I lived my whole life for the last 50 years being in a hurry, Saban told ESPN. It was, hurry up to go here, hurry up to go there. Don't be late for this meeting. You've got another meeting in an hour. What are you going to say to the staff? What are you going to say to the team? I mean, it was just deadline after deadline after deadline. Even when I was driving to the lake to go on vacation, I'd be in a hurry. And for what? That's just how you were built. And part of this story is about his wife, Terry, who has been married. They've been married for 52 years. She gave him a note that said the 10 Commandments of retirement.
Ooh, wait a minute. I'm setting up on this one here.
So, there was never any debate about who was in charge of Alabama's football program, but Saban had often joked that his wife of 52 years, Terry, was the family member most proficient at giving orders. The day after he retired in January, Saban said he had a note from Mrs. Terry, as he refers to her, sitting on his chair. It spelled out the 10 Commandments of retirement. Terry wouldn't share all of them, but the top were the decree that Saban wait for her to sit down at the dinner table and to slow down when eating. She also told him it was polite to leave a little something on his plate when eating at restaurants. So at our first dinner at home, he brought his plate to me with half a pickle on it and said, "To be polite," Terry said. Another commandment calls for Saban to alter his behavior when they are settling in on the couch. For years, when Terry would get a blanket for herself, she always picked up one for Saban. And she said, "Now I'd appreciate the same courtesy." Terry has enrolled Saban in her own version of Tech 101 class. He's actually texting and reading his own emails and sent his first ever email. Terry said he even took his first trip to the pharmacy to pick up his
email.
Yeah.
Wow. Sorry, I didn't mean to, that one. That went through
sent
me
his
for a
first
loop.
ever email. Yeah. She said he even took his first trip to the pharmacy to pick up his first prescription. He's actually quite proud of himself. And then Saban said, to be clear, Saban has hardly become a homebody. He doesn't hang out watching television, though he admits he's a big fan of the show Game of Thrones. So,
yeah. How did that?
I've never seen never seen it.
Faith.
And I never will. I will never watch it.
Why not?
Because it's too late now.
No, it's not. It's actually better now. Here's the reason why. None of this waiting. You got to binge to watch that. You sit down.
I don't have time.
And just binge watch the heck out of it.
I don't have time. Also, like, my dad really likes Game of Thrones, and when I went home a couple summers ago, he was watching it, and like it seems good, but it doesn't really seem like something I would really like.
That's because you got to there's a lot of development to the characters. You got to start that one from the beginning.
Oh, there's development in the characters, so it's like it's not gonna get good till like season 2 or season 3.
No Breaking Bad. You in this bad boy from from day one. You're over there, you're watching, and you're like, damn. By episode 3, you're like, holy, and then by the end of the season, you're like, man, I need a drink. No. It's not like Breaking Bad, where I'm like 3 seasons into it, and everyone's like, oh, after you got to make it through past those first 3 seasons. No, you make it through episode 1, 2, and 3, and it's on. That's the difference. All right, keep on with Nick Saban.
It's just a cute little heartwarming story about a man who's been working basically his entire life, and he's finally learning how to settle down and relax. So
I understand this better than most.
Yeah,
because I go I go hard. Yeah, I'm the guy that the 18, 20-hour days. I'm a guy that goes hard. And after the pandemic, I kind of realized, I'm like, listen, I like my life. My life is awesome. But I'm like, I'm going a lot, and I wanted to be able to change my life. So I moved to Europe. I wasn't going to change how much work I do and how much stuff I do in my life, but I decided my life to be a vacation.
Right.
And then my life is vacation, and I built work into it. I 100 yards from the Atlantic Ocean, beaches, everything. When I go walk down the street, I'm in vacation world. I walk, there's nothing to be like, my dog's barking at girls in bikinis walking past, people, it's just, my life is a vacation, and I work during it. So I understand why this is a big adjustment. And Nick Saban, even for coaches work hard. Coaches sleep at the office, sleep at the stadium, at the practice facility. Their life is 24/7 football. When they've won the championship, like Nick Saban was saying, like, man, this championship is costing me a week of recruiting. I need to get out there, and I need to be recruiting players. Nick Saban, I remember him talking about, they won the national championship, and he had 24 hours, and then he was on a flight to a home to recruit people. He took less than 24 hours to enjoy that national championship before he was out recruiting nonstop. He controlled everything. And so many coaches are that way. And I've seen interviews with a number of different coaches that have gotten fired. and they didn't realize like, wow, my life is actually better. And then find out like the blessing in disguise was me getting fired. That's once you're forced to step back and enjoy your life, you start to realize like, hey, I didn't have enough time with family or have enough time with friends or anything else. I get that. Like my friend, this is another friend, I have a laundry list of Germans that are like that I love, and he just flew in, and it's just like they know where I'm going to be at. They know I'm going to be here or at the beach or by the cliffs or something like that. Everyone knows where I'm going to be at because I built my life around that. Most people don't have the luxury of that, and being in Tuscaloosa, being a football coach. That's not a job, that's a life. And no one's dedicated their life more to not just coaching but winning and dominating, and that's hard. When your life is winning and dominating, you're always afraid someone's going to knock you off. Everyone wants to chop your head off like Game of Thrones, and so it's hard being the king. And for him to step down as the king by choice, looked around the landscape and like, this game is changing, not to the way I want it to be.
Yeah.
I've won the SEC again. It's time for me to just hit him with the deuces and bounce out.
Yeah.
And that's what he did. And it's adjusting. I love about this story, what I like best is when you are such a focused individual, making it a priority that your partner, your spouse is so important. She's taking care of me all this time. She's giving me these 10 commandments. I got to start making adjustments in my life to make sure she comes first because she's been sacrificing so much. And that's what I see with Nick Saban, is that over the years, he's always tried to make sure she was prominent in his life. And now she's saying, listen, hey, instead of you getting that blanket for yourself, it's time for you to go get me that blanket. You don't have an assistant that's going to be writing these emails. You got to do it yourself. Like when I first moved I don't mean to make it just a comparison. When I moved to Europe, I wanted to make sure that I did more in my life. So I hired 2 personal assistants and everything to help me with my life and help me with that adjustment, just because you wanted to slow your life down. And then once I got to the point where I slowed my life down and started incorporating more things and more fun into it, then I slowly went away from 2 to 1. And now I just do everything mostly myself with my amazing and badass wife. So it helps me with a lot of things. So yeah.
So sweet. God, miss. That's so sweet.
Yeah. Oh, it's true. She's amazing.
She is.
So,
she's great. I love her. Yeah. They said though, Saban said, I can't stand sitting around anymore than I could stand when I was coaching. He said, I always stay busy. I think everybody looks at me, this guy's a ball coach and that's all he does. I've got businesses. I do speaking stuff. I got my TV job now with ESPN. I like to play golf. I've got a ton of stuff to do, so I'm not retiring to quit working. So, which I forgot that he's doing something with ESPN now. He's going to be on television. But yeah, so even though he's retired, Nick Saban is still finding stuff to do.
You know what? As for someone who's done some of the speaking engagements and things like that, actually, that's actually a pretty cool gig.
Is it?
That is. Oh, that's a nice gig there. It really is. It's weird when someone pays you to talk. Like, hey, you're interesting enough that we'll give you money just to say words.
Yeah.
Done.
I can do that in my sleep.
I do that going down the street. Absolutely. Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's a weird one to adjust to. Is when someone thinks you're interesting enough that they'll give you money to talk. Nice gig.
Well, this makes me like Nick Saban a little bit more.
Oh, Nick's awesome.
Sounds like a sweet guy. This is just such a heartwarming story. So, guys, I recommend going and reading the whole story because it is so
That's because
cute.
he's not trying to kick George's head in. That's the reason why you're like,
exactly
okay,
right.
I can appreciate him now.
I can, yeah.
Now that I've taken my beating, I can appreciate this dude that's done this damage to me in life.
Well, we gave him some damage too, but to each its own.
See, that's another debate. I'm like, you look at that record and you say not as much as you think.
Past few years. Anyway.
All right.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to dive into our oddities of the day. So make sure you guys stick around, and we'll be back in a few.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
Alrighty, guys, welcome back. Earlier, we were talking about Nick Saban and how he is settling into retirement. And now, as always, at the end of the show, we are going to dive into our oddities of the day. This is just going to be a heartwarming episode because this story I found is honestly just so freaking cute too. I loved this story too. So,
all right, I'm a little worried. I like to bathe in the drama. So I'm gonna see how this goes. You may have to carry this one.
It's cute, but it's interesting. So some BYU students threw an annual party for a man they didn't know, and they never imagined what it could become. So a group of BYU students never guessed that a cross stitch they bought from Desert Industries for apartment decor would connect them with a total stranger. Brigham Tingley was one of those students. He said, "I had a few friends from high school that were going to school at BYU, and we decided to all room together," Tingley said. "We wanted to be the party house, so we figured we needed more than white walls to kind of set the vibe, and we were also broke, so our decor options were somewhat limited." Also, I don't know what constitute as a party house at BYU, because I know they got strict regulations at BYU.
Hey,
so.
I'm gonna tell you, if you don't know, let me tell you. That's another offline conversation. Them Mormons know how to rock the party. I'm gonna let you know.
Anyway, so wanting to decorate their new apartment, the roommates set off to Deserted Industries. We were over in just like the area where they have like the frames, paintings, whatnot, and found this, and we were kind of like, who on earth would buy someone's baby announcement? So I'm gonna have a picture for you guys right here. You guys can see the image, and I'll send it to Tate so he can take a look at it too. Baby announcement. And we decided that we definitely were those type of people. If anyone was going to do it, it was us, and it was probably the best $2.50 we ever spent. The cross stitch featuring the name Ty Christopher, March 1st, 1991, 6 pounds, 10 3/4 ounces, hung on the student's wall throughout the school year and quickly became an inside joke. It was our Wi-Fi password for a while, just Ty Christopher, all lowercase. As March 1st approached, the students had another idea involving the now beloved beloved cross stitch. We realized like we would be remiss if we didn't celebrate Ty's birthday. We had to do something kind of special, Tingley said. And at this point, we had several friends that were in on the joke, but we had quite a few who were not. The students threw a big party for their friend Ty Christopher, who many of the attendees believed were a real friend of theirs. And what's so funny about this story is that they continued doing this party for a long time. And eventually they decided that they had to find out who this Ty Christopher was. So the story goes on to talk about how they were trying to find whoever like made this cross stitch so they could find Ty Christopher. And eventually they found the lady who made the cross stitch, and she put them in contact with the parents of who she made the cross stitch for. And then they found Ty Christopher, and they threw a party for him, and they invited him to their party that they had been doing for so many years for his birthday. And he showed up, and Ty was like treated as like this big celebrity, and everybody was like
that's crazy.
Taking pictures with him and everything like that. So eventually they got to meet the real Ty Christopher of the baby announcement that they found at essentially a Goodwill that they decided to hang up in their apartment because they thought was funny. So a cute little story.
Wow. That's okay. This is totally a fake story here.
Yeah.
So this is more of a fake story. You go ahead with this one first, and then I'll go ahead.
I just think it's really cute. Like, I'm definitely one of those people. I like to buy like things like this because they're funny. You know, they make good inside jokes, everything like that. My boyfriend and I already have stuff in our apartment together. Well, not our apartment yet. It will be anyway. That's not our apartment yet.
You're staking territory. That's all you're saying.
It will be our apartment soon, but we buy stuff like this because we think it's hilarious. We'll have inside jokes, and then when people come over, you know, it's a talking point, and you're like, well, we bought this because we thought it was funny, yada yada, whatever. And then I don't know. I think it's like a grand idea that they were like, oh, it's March 1st. We have to throw a birthday party for Ty. And like all these people came and they thought that they knew Ty Christopher, and they didn't. It was just throwing a birthday party for somebody they didn't know. And then he ended up coming up to one of the parties, and then they got to finally meet the guy that they've been throwing a party for all these years. So I thought it was cute.
It's actually kind of cool. I could totally see why you think it's like cute and adorable, and why you kind of touches you. Mm-hmm. I can also see it as that is something that living in a fraternity house, that's something that would totally happen in a fraternity house.
Absolutely.
You know, Ty's keg. You know, it's his birthday. You know. Hey guys, I'm going to go see Ty. Yo, anybody else want anything? Yeah, go grab me a beer too. Yeah, you're filling up your keg at Ty's keg. You got the post and everything. Oh yeah, no, I could totally see when you're in college, especially, you look for excuses to get together and throw parties.
Yes, absolutely.
And and because it got the little ducks on there and it's the cross stitch. That is like the polar opposite. I picture like a little old grandma that made this thing, but then you know it's hanging off of a keg at the Sigma Nu house. I so could see that happening.
Here's a thought: what parents donate their kids' baby announcement to a Goodwill?
It's one of those things where it's kind of like when you're like all excited, and you know you get these gifts and things, and that's really cool. But then little he's in his onesies, he's taking a swig off the bottle, you know, and all this stuff. But now he's 25 and just like, who cares about Ty? Throw that crap in the Goodwill.
I would be offended if my parents threw out my baby announcement.
You know, it's like
that somebody cross-stitched for them. Somebody took the time out of their day to make this thing for them.
You know how many of these things you have how many people got every little baby announcement they ever made? After a while, it was exciting when baby Faith was born. Now Faith is 22. She's living with her boyfriend, and it's like we need to make space. We're turning Faith's room. We're turning Faith's room into my sewing room.
No.
Send that to the Goodwill.
One, my parents would not do that. My mom saves just about everything. My mom has all these drawings that I did when I was a kid. She has all my not all my baby clothes.
Exactly, because some of those drawings ended up at the Goodwill. That's why.
No, they didn't. My mom kept all of those. My mom still has those. My mom still has all the photos. She has books for each of the kid with like scrapbook of all that stuff. So my mom actually keeps stuff like that. So I would be offended if I found out that my mom took my box of memories that she's had for me for a long time and just taking it to the Goodwill and being like, yeah, I don't need this anymore.
Until you find out that your picture of you is hanging off of a keg at the Chi Sigma Theta house and Wichita, Kansas somewhere.
No, thank you.
And then you're gonna be like, Mom, I thought I was special. You're a mistake.
I was actually an accident, so
that's how you
I was the accident child. So.
That is hilarious. We're having breakthrough moments here, everyone.
This isn't a podcast. This is Faith's therapy session for the day.
Hard therapy with Faith.
Yeah.
Speaking of this, I'm gonna take the last couple of minutes to roll something around with you about the show. So we're just gonna do it. We'll just do it on air.
Okay.
I was thinking about these oddities that we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? As I'm just talking to you during the show, which is kind of weird. Faith, look, I was thinking about changing it up.
What's up?
So we do dating nightmares on Monday.
On Friday.
We have Monday.
Oh,
switching them to
we're
Monday.
moving into Monday. Okay.
I was thinking about moving them to Monday. Tuesday is just a free for all. It could be, anything.
Okay.
Make Wednesday kind of like dumb criminals.
Okay.
Thursday kind of a free for all, and make Fridays Florida Man Fridays.
I thought you were gonna do like Feel Good Friday, but all right.
See, you're totally hoping for a nice wholesome thing. Feel Good Friday. Nah,
Florida Man.
I want Florida Man Fridays.
All right. Well, Tuesday we'll do a feel good story. Tuesday will be our feel good day. I like the feel good stories.
See,
they remind you that the world is not all bad. There's some positives in the world still. Feel good stories are cute because this was a cute little story about. This guy got treated like a celebrity, and he probably was just some average Joe.
What are we making? We're making it Thirsty Thursday, where all the people that are thirsty and all their shows about being all thirsty on. So it's Thirsty Thursdays. What if we could do that? We're making it Thirsty Thursdays.
Thirsty Thursday.
All the people that were like all thirsty and all the things they've done, they get a date.
Oh, geez.
Look at the look on your face. You're like, wow.
I'm gonna have to
Faith
rewrite.
gets Tuesday. Faith gets Tuesday. Feel good. What is it? Feel good. What is it?
Feel Good Tuesday.
Okay.
Geez.
All right. I'm willing to compromise on that. Feel good. We got to come up with a better name than Feel Good Tuesday.
Okay.
So, all right. I'm gonna leave you on that one.
All right, guys. Well, I guess
we got a new
stay tuned
format
for next week when we'll be changing up our oddities, and we'll have scheduled oddities throughout the week. So
I kind of like that one. You can make it feel good Tuesday, and I do like that Thursday. I was just joking around with that one, but people being all thirsty over here. That's mixing it. I'm keeping that Thursdays.
Okay.
I like the drama.
Okay, guys. Alrighty. Well, with that, we are going to close out our show for the day. Thank you guys for tuning into the Andrew Tate Show, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us, so please remember to subscribe to the show and leave a positive review. It really does make a difference. We also invite you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram for more content updates. Thank you once again. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.
Feel good Tuesday.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great.